When the USA put in place bans on dealing with Huawei in 2019 for complicated reasons to do with networking infrastructure, it hit the company hard, with Google, among other tech giants, forbidden to supply them with code for new smartphones. And as a result, we've had a succession of new Huawei devices with zero involvement from Google and no Google applications preloaded. This is the first I've looked at on the phone show. It's the P40 Pro, and it's worth mentioning because it's one of the best imaging phones I've ever used. Can a Google-less existence work in real life? Is it for some people even preferable? Well, we'll come to that later. In the hand is a typical modern flagship. Kirin 990 chipset, 8GB of RAM and a choice of internal storage size. A large 6.6-inch AMOLED display running at 60 or 90 Hz with a nice variety of always-on display options. IP68 waterproofing, glass front and back, you know the drill. All for £900 though, which compares fairly well with Samsung's Galaxy S20 range, though with some huge caveats again. It's fast, it's nicely curved, and I always appreciate a clear TPU case in the box. Huawei, well done. The phone's corners have an extra aluminium reinforcement too, which is good to see. Down at the bottom is a USB Type-C port, which includes easy projection desktop support to HDMI and USB 3. Again, always great to see. And a mono speaker, which is decently loud, full volume. But the fidelity is not top-notch, and there's nothing up top. There's nothing up top. There's nothing up top in terms of an earpiece speaker to match it. There's certainly no stereo. Instead, you get a glass vibration earpiece. Okay for calls, but nothing else. For £900 Huawei, I'd rather hope to have stereo speakers. We kind of like them here in the West. No 3.5mm jack here, of course, though Huawei does put out excellent audio from that Kirin chip through passive adapters if needed. You don't get a Type-C to 3.5 adapter in the box, but anything you buy on eBay should work, however cheap. The in-screen fingerprint sensor is optical and very good indeed, works every single time. It's light years ahead of others I've tried. I've been accused of dissing in-screen sensors in the past, but this one is 99.9% accurate. In-screen optical has come of age. But the main events here are twofold: the camera system and the ecosystem. Let's tackle imaging first, since it's something special. A 50 megapixel RYYB main sensor, 1/1.28 inches, so almost as large as that in the legendary Nokia 808 here, shows that camera tech has come almost full circle. The huge sensor, the RYYP tech, the 4:1 pixel binning and the 2x lossless zoom, together with fast autofocus and OIS, all bring to mind, in fact, the 808 successor, the Lumia 1020 here. The P40 Pro has a bigger sensor than that, in fact. It feels like a modern-day successor to both of those classic PureView smartphones. Huawei knows it's onto something good too, with less edge enhancement than is traditional for the company, so even daytime results are usable by pixel peepers like me. And in low light and when zooming, the P40 Pro shines. Okay, the zoom gets progressively less useful between 2x and 4.9x, but if you're in need of serious zoom, then just jump to 5x and beyond. And the also stabilised, also RYYB periscope camera jumps in with terrific results. See the examples here. Not just signs and wonders. See what I did there? Here's a moonshot, fully handheld, no tripod. Rather amazing, really. Yes, I'd still like Huawei to dial everything back on the sharpening front, but I can see where they're coming from, and things really aren't too egregious here. There's also a 40 megapixel ultra-wide camera with autofocus, with results massively better than the usual fun wide-angle use case would require. And who'd have thought that 40 megapixel sensors would make their way to selfie cams, eh? The usual 4K stabilised video too from front or back cameras. I really must do another feature on video capture quality at some point. So a great camera phone experience and very decent results. Maybe not quite up to the iPhone 11 Pro overall, unless you need that 5x and beyond periscope zoom, but still excellent. But what about the phone OS and applications? Essentially, Huawei is taking Android open source project code and adding its EMUI interface and Huawei applications, then adding its own app gallery store with plenty to browse through, though not that much that you've heard of. There are no Google applications and no Google mobile services under the hood. Now, if you're used to a standard Android phone and if you live in the Google world, then it's all a huge compromise and a bit of a shock. No Netflix, no YouTube app, though it does work via the browser as we just heard. No Chrome, no Gmail, no Google Maps, though you can easily sidecode, here we go, from the old Nokia Maps people, which does just as well. And it seems to all be free. And it's here that we come to a fork in the road. You can say, I still want Google. You can buy the phone, then spend hours fiddling around hacking on most, if not all, Google's apps and services. It's an exercise in frustration, though, if you ask me. Better to go the other way and consider the P40 Pro as a top-notch flagship and camera phone for someone who distrusts Google. There's actually a significant proportion of users, even in the West, who are worried that Google knows too much about them already. For such an audience, the P40 Pro is a chance to break out in the phone world completely Google-free. It sounds odd, it sounds perverse, but it can be done. Helping the latter path along is a wealth of Microsoft applications. Office here is pre-installed. Bing is the default search engine, and all Microsoft apps and services I tried worked first time. Then almost everything else non-Google is installable via the APK Pure App Store, or Amazon, or whatever alternative you prefer. So in comes WhatsApp, Snapchat, Twitter, and so on. So would I recommend the P40 Pro to Joe Average in the street? No, they might buy this and think they're getting the usual Android ecosystem and then be bitterly disappointed. Me, I'm 100% in with Google already. The train has left the station on that one. I'm firmly in the Google can know everything about me. Ultimately, I'll benefit from everything being joined up camp. Witness the time I was able to prove to the police that an offence couldn't have been me, as Google Maps timeline showed me elsewhere at the time. It worked, it really did. Loads of other examples abound about having everything in Google's, or to a lesser degree Apple's, ecosystem bringing benefits in the long run. For example, you can install PayPal from the APK Pure App Store. It looks legitimate. I'm 99% sure it is, but not 100%. And I don't think I can trust the intimates of my finances to something that's not utterly 100.0% locked down and verified. Then there are ancillaries that you might not have anticipated, including not working with Chromecast devices. These are Google specific, and casting isn't supported on the P40 Pro. You just don't get the icons. And yes, I blame Donald Trump for all of this as usual. Huawei has been royally screwed over the last 12 months, and it didn't deserve to be. But if you fancy branching out into a Google-free world, then don't let me stop you. Do your own research and then jump off. It's a breath of fresh air in the ecosystem department. It's early days for Huawei though. The App Gallery store really should have all the stuff that's in the Amazon APK Pure stores by now. Keep everything on one place, etc. There's a new voice assistant, Celia, which doesn't do a lot yet and typically just drops down Huawei's old high voice system. So a very mixed report card for the P40 Pro overall. Terrific hardware, potentially spoiled by a crippled ecosystem, or providing a springboard into a new phone adventure and geeky fun. It's kind of up to you.